the words and I got the flow. See, I don't gotta write, I got the Holy Ghost. Yeah, that's called a ghost writer. Jeremiah 5:14, that's so fire. Isaiah 14, and when I retire, out of captivity I broke the iron. Who that is coming out of Mount Zion? Woolly hair, looking like a lion. 1,000 men marching with no drums on, no trombone, just boots on. Use our voices screaming out, take care of your homes, take care of your wives, take care of your own. Now we standing out here in the valley of the bones. This place called America, this is not your home. This is like a tomb, place where you died at. Now I resurrected, trying to bring the 12 tribes back. I came on a slave shipping, and I ain't even like that. Put my neck in a rope, and I couldn't even fight back. Sold on an auction block, took a man from his kids.
Desantis in Florida is showing that he is chief #1 conquistador. He is a descendant of, give me a conquistador's name. Cortez, Hernan Cortez,
Ponce de
give me the
Leon.
Ponce de Leon. Yeah,
Come on now,
that's
dog.
their little nephew right there.
Come
Desantis
on,
is
man.
their nephew. I'll tell you that
Ain't
right
he a
now.
criminal?
Real.
Ain't he a criminal? We just found out.
Yeah, what'd you say? How many felonies he had?
Hey, come on.
Nah,
man.
that wasn't DeSantis. That was his who he running against. The other guy.
The other guy is
yeah,
a criminal.
I forgot.
All of
Okay.
them crooks. All right.
Yeah, but they all politicians. Cap.
They
all
crooks.
politicians.
Let's pull it up and see what DeSantis, the descendant of a conquistador, is doing.
From Yahoo News, Florida approves controversial set of Black history standards.
Now, check this out. I want you to play the video. Let's see if we can pick up on the video of where she is. Let's run it back and unmute that for him. You should have left that playing.
American history, and you are on the wrong side of history. This attack on Black history. Governor, Black history is American history, and you are on the wrong side of history. Yes. We have AP courses for all nationalities, and in particular European history, but we do not have African American history. We believe that people in Florida should know all of history, but more importantly, we believe that African American history has value. We are American history. We have to stop this attack on Black history. He is undermining the rights of parents and students to make the best decisions for themselves. He wants to say that I don't belong. He wants to say that you don't belong. Whose story does and doesn't get to count.
Okay, we can drop it right there. Now, you know what the hypocrisy is in that that you want Black history taught in the schools and you want an AP honors class and whatnot, but at the same time, you say that racism is over, there's no hatred, we are equal, we are all one in Christ Jesus. I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, I can vote, we all good in America. So which one is it? If it's all good in America, well then don't dive into the past when it's damn bad and then get mad at them when they won't teach all the bad that was in the past. You can't have both. Either you're going to stand against your enemy or you're going to stand with them. You can't have one or the other. Nowhere in history has someone stood with their enemy and still begged that you teach or give the truth of our history. It don't work like that. You got to pick one side. It's one side or the other. Right. Either you are going to be African American or you're going to be straight American. Because if you're going to be straight American, they're going to do that to you. They're going to teach nothing but European history because they are Americans. They know you are not at all. Let's go to the article, though. Let's go to the main point on that article. No. Go back out of this, back out of that, and scroll down. Yeah, let's read that.
The Florida Board of Education has approved a controversial set of academic standards for African American social studies classes in K-12 schools.
Damn, so he's starting in kindergarten with this. Okay, go ahead.
No way, boy.
The standards, which are being released as Governor Ron Desantis and other Florida Republicans have continued a crusade against public education, include language that states slaves.
Now listen to this. It includes languages that what?
That states slaves developed skills. In some instances, could be applied for their personal benefit.
Man, that's a slap in the damn face right there, man. They are going to teach your kids in school, whether you homeschool or whether they go to public school. They are now going to teach your kids that slavery wasn't that bad.
Hey, Cap, you know what we're seeing right now?
What's that?
We're seeing the so-called white man rewriting history
Good
in
point.
front of our eyes right now.
Yep.
And black people just fell for it, just
Yep.
like that.
And that point goes back to the first point that Cap made, is because these nations don't take you serious.
Yeah.
Where they feel they can even bring up this discussion.
Yeah.
Like, bro, because you 1 minute you pro-black, but then the next minute you celebrating Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Right. That's
So,
like, hey, they must be on our side.
right,
Yeah.
you got to be with
Which
us.
one is it? Y'all confused?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's teach them what we want to teach them. You know what this is ultimately showing to all the black elites that come against the Israelites and say that we are teaching hate and that we living in the past. Well,
Right.
how we living in the past and you try to get black history taught in the damn schools, but we living in the past.
Come
The
on,
only
man.
reason they say that is because the history that we brings out shows them who their enemy is.
Right.
Right.
And they don't want to face that when they looking us in the face. But they want to acknowledge it whenever they don't let them bring out whatever the hell they want to, some damn watered down history. But what that is showing the black elite is that you have no power, that you are still a slave in a land that is not yours.
Yep.
Give me that in Deuteronomy. It's the curses. It's for all you educated. I got a PhD. You master degrees. You educated. You small business owners. You big business owners. You scammers and you damn day traders and whatever the hell else you want to call yourself.
Pyramid schemers.
You
Still
pyramid
niggas.
schemers.
Still niggas.
You cannot escape the hand of God. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and go straight to the one 33.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 33.
Listen to this.
The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up.
That happened to our Native American brothers. Hell, it happened to our own brothers of the Southern Kingdom that actually had a little bit of land here. What are they doing to black farmers now? They taking that stuff from them.
Right, right.
In Colorado, it's happening right now. They taking the land from them.
Need that.
Go ahead.
And thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always.
There you go. That's a form of being crushed always right there with that you will send your kids to school. Your taxpayer dollars
Right. Bring it out.
fund that school.
Right.
In that neighborhood, and your kids have to go there and learn what the white man wants to teach them. Damn, that's oppression.
Hey,
Hey,
so
Cap.
Cap, go ahead, officer.
You know, what it made me think about, remember when the Native Americans got, and stuff was here, right? Well, they're still here. How they brought their children to their own school and indoctrinated them. Now, today, you never hear about Hispanics or Native American slavery.
Nope.
Never.
Nah.
You don't hear that stuff taught in school.
Nah.
It's the same thing that's about to happen to the blacks.
And that's a good point that you bring out too, officer, because many times when we deal with our native Indian brothers or mainly our Hispanic brothers, we talk about slave history. It's like it never happened. They have no idea that they went into slavery, that they was oppressed, that this land was theirs and they didn't
Right,
speak Spanish. That was systematic destruction of their minds over a period of time. That is what they are doing right now, 2023, to the southern kingdom of Israel in the schools, starting in Florida, and it's going to work its way throughout the whole damn country. You best believe that.
Hey, you know what I learned today was? Colombian Independence Day.
It's a Colombian Independence Day?
Yep, I learned that today.
I didn't know that.
I think they make
That's
stuff
a new
up
one
on
for
the
me.
fly, man.
That's a damn new one for me. Go back to the article, man. Go back to that. Let's read that. The standards.
The standards guide says instruction will also include mention of violence perpetrated against and by African Americans.
Now, you know they're going to smooth right over that violence against Now, see, this is how Esau is the damn devil. This is what happened to black folks. You set your enemy beside thee, and when he woke up, he stood up against thee, like the scriptures say. Violence perpetrated against. That's what critical race theory has been pushing for, right? Mm-hmm. The violence done to black folks and how it has affected them. So what did they do? They gave you a piece of CRT. Yeah, they gave you a little bit of sprinkle of what you wanted, and then look what violence perpetrated against and by African Americans. How in the hell are you gonna teach black history dealing with white folks in slavery in America,
right,
and you're teaching violence that black people have done during slavery? Oh, that's some evil-ish right there.
Yeah,
that's evil as hell.
So they're trying to say black-on-black crime was being done on the plantation.
They are going to push that. Yeah, you was enslaved, but Nat Turner killed white people too. He's bad. You shouldn't be like Nat Turner.
Yep.
Wow.
His master loved him and made him a pastor and gave him food, and Nat Turner
turned around and killed
flipped on him one day and killed white people and babies in a whole town.
And in other words, they're saying not all white people are bad.
There you go.
Hey,
look
not
what black
bad.
people did to white people
people
during
too.
slavery too.
Yeah.
Although they was in slavery, many slaves lived good. They lived in the house, and black people still kill white people. Man, that's some diabolical shit.
And you know how it's crazy what you bringing up, because they started doing that when they started doing these movies about those historical people in our history.
Yeah.
When they started making these movies about the history, they started to try to change little instances in the history. And you know how people, they learn off television.
They did that with
Harriet
the
Tubman.
Harriet Tubman movie. Right.
What was her thing? A white man helped her, or the black man? It was a black man that they had made up that was chasing down Harriet Tubman.
Right.
That's the blacks against blacks violence that they talk.
Right.
Go back to that, man. Pay attention to what we break it out, y'all. This is why you have to go through the troubles of education. They are putting it out in the open. Right smack dab in your face. We gonna teach your kids what we want to teach them. And we're going to make them love us regardless of what you think. We're going to make them love us. Go back to it. Read that. It adds
that students will be taught to identify famous black people.
Martin Luther King, as they all. I guarantee you they still won't teach Malcolm X. Nah. Guarantee you they ain't going to teach about Nat Turner, Denmark Vesey. Go ahead.
But it fails to make it necessary for students to learn about each of their contributions, challenges, and stories overall.
Let's go down.
Earlier this year, the board banned the teaching of advanced placement African American studies in high schools across the state. It claimed the course significantly lacks educational value and contradicted Florida law.
Now check this out. We was talking about this on the way up here, right? Go to the next main point in that article. It says that it lacks education. So for black people, because that's who would be making up the curriculum for an African American or black history study class, just like it was with the black lady that came out with the 1619 project.
Yeah.
That was history from our point of view. History from our point of view. You see what they say about it? It lacks educational value.
That
was dumb as hell. So if it's history from our point of view, lacks educational value means that it does not keep Negroes asleep.
Yep, that's what I was thinking. I was like, wait, how is it that what they're going to teach have educational value? And I was like, wait, they're going to teach you to be docile, soft. It's like, oh, that's good education.
That's good education.
Yeah.
Damn, that's correct. That's good education for them Negroes. Go to that next main point in that article. Read that.
The new standards outline what can be taught about slavery, segregation, and oppression.
Read that one more again. I want all the parents to see this. Read it again. What is happening in Florida and soon to be across the rest of the nation?
The new standards outline what can be taught about slavery, segregation and oppression.
What can give me that in Deuteronomy? We're gonna stay in the book of Deuteronomy.
Bring it out, Cal.
Deuteronomy chapter 33, I believe it is. And it's the last verse, man. God been told us this since ancient times. That's why the Bible is not outdated, it's not old, it is relevant to everything going on. Hell, you can't call it the book of life and say that it's old.
That's right.
What is that little acronym they have for it? Basic instructions
before leaving the earth.
Well, it can't have that acronym if it's outdated. That means that it is still relevant to you in this present time.
Yep.
You can't escape the basics.
You can't escape the basics, right? That's what Negroes be trying to do. Shoot threes, can't hit a damn layup. Read that Deuteronomy 33:29.
Deuteronomy chapter 33 and verse 29. Happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee.
Now the wisdom in that how could we be happy when we are in their public school? And this is the thing too. If you don't send your kids to public school, what they gonna do?
Going to jail now.
You go to jail. They coming to get your kids. They gonna take your kids. If you don't let us indoctrinate your kids, we coming to take them so they can be indoctrinated.
Damn.
If that ain't slavery, I don't know what is.
Damn.
You know, I heard that on the news. This week on the radio, they said public school, like the state, has the right to teach your children whatever they want when your children is in their school.
That sounds like kill the Indian, save the
Yeah,
man all
exactly.
over. That just kill the nigga and save the slave. Damn! T-shirt right there, man. That's a t-shirt. Kill the nigga, save the slave. That's a t-shirt. Don't take that. If you do, I want royalties. Pat Jill, make it happen, baby. Solomon's class. Deuteronomy 33:29. How can we be happy in a time like this? Is because God has put the spirit on the prophets in the last days. The bishops, the deacons, the captains, the officers to hit the streets, bring out classes to actually bring out the true history that counteracts the evils that this white man is trying to do to us right now in front. This ain't old, y'all. This that's long. That was 1700s. You living in. That's right now. They said we decide what should be taught when it comes to segregation. Go back to it. I don't want to butcher it. Read that again. The new standards.
The new standards outline what can be taught about slavery.
We're going to teach about the house niggas.
Segregation.
That it wasn't that bad. You still had separate but equal.
Right.
Go ahead.
And oppression.
It wasn't that bad because you survived. You still here. That's what they going to teach. But God is revealing that happy are those because he put the spirit on the prophets in the last days to reveal to us the truth. Keep reading.
Who is like unto thee, O people saved by the Lord, the shield of thy help, and who is the sword of thy excellency.
Here's the point. Read it.
And thine enemies shall be found liars unto thee.
Now, if you are a parent, I don't know who might watch this, and or you come across Desantis banning Black history or relegating what can be taught and what cannot be taught, and we ask you the question: is the white man the enemy to Black people? And you niggers, I'm gonna use the Bible. You niggards. If you niggards say no, he's not our enemy, I don't know what we're gonna start carrying some baby powder at camp. I'm telling you right now, man.
You know what you got to tell them, Cap? You're
that?
part of the problem.
Yep, you are part of the problem. Read that again for him. And thy enemies.
And thine enemies shall be found liars unto thee.
Go back to the article. Let's finish that out. Read the rest of that. Hey, make sure y'all comment, man. We're going to pull y'all comments up. Make sure you're commenting, sharing, liking, all of those good things, man.
That's right.
Read that. This allows what?
This allows students to formulate their own opinion, Diaz said.
Now, Officer Daniel, we was talking about this. You made a good point. Bring out that point where we was talking about that. It says the history that they teach is going to allow the students to formulate their own opinion. Go ahead. What was you saying about that?
Like that blanket statement has no stance at all, because how can you allow somebody to formulate their own opinion based off something that you're relegating, based off what you're going to present and what you're going to hold back? It's impossible. You're not giving someone the entirety of what it is in order to formulate their actual opinion.
So that's like That's like saying, I want you to look through this peephole,
Right.
and then I want you to tell me what's going on down the street.
Down the street, right.
But you only get to look through the peephole, so how can I know what's down there? Can I look out the window to see what's down there?
But
No.
nah.
Look out the peephole, and then tell me what's down the street. That can't happen. It's not possible. Go ahead. Y'all had something to say?
You know what it is? And when we start looking at it, what this is fear. The so-called the
That's a
so-called
good
white
point.
man
Yeah,
is
that is a
fear
good
because they start seeing us on the streets teaching our people who they are according to the Bible. And after we finish teaching them, they have a greater sense of self, and they try to remove that from us. And that's what you see as fear.
Good point. Now,
Wait.
we was talking about this too, and I brought out a point, and y'all can confirm with me. I want y'all to that you might be watching on YouTube or wherever. Y'all can type in the comments. For me, speaking for myself, I learned more when I got out of the educational system about my people than I ever learned in school. And I went through 20 years of Black History Month. We had an African American Studies class. You know what they taught us when I remember? It's high school. Miss Watson was my teacher's name. You know, I remember she used to keep her shirt open all the time.
Teacher's crush.
Yeah. That's how I used to go to African American. It's wicked. I was wicked. I was a teenager, y'all. But I didn't never miss African American Studies class because she taught it. But I remember the only thing I remember from African American Studies class 20 years ago. Guess what it is? Kwanzaa. That's the only shit. I'm not lying to you. The only thing I remember from African American Studies class in high school was Kwanzaa.
Cap,
Come on now,
you said something key. You had to get out of the school system. Meaning you have to get out of a program in order to reprogram what God wants you to know.
Good point.
And a lot of times it's not just their educational system, it's their religious institution.
Right.
Good point.
It's basically getting up from under them, period, and then the wisdom of God can start to become.
That's it, man. I tell you, when I got out of the system, and you know what they call college? They say college is a higher learning institution of higher learning. The moment I got out of it, I learned more about who we was as a people. It was like God was waiting on us to get out the damn Esau system so he can start pouring into us our actual Israelite history. Because while we was in there, you indoctrinated. You only learn about white presidents. You learn about the Indians made corn. What's it called? Pilgrim? The Pilgrim? Plymouth Rock, right?
Plymouth Rock didn't land on what they said?
We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. He should have got an Oscar for that too. But when I got out of school, then that's when I started looking into other books and reading other books that eventually led me to understanding that I'm an Israelite according to the Bible.
Right.
If I would have stayed in school, never would have came across that. Especially now, it's going to be even harder for kids to get to that point of understanding who we are or our history as a people because they are relegating what they're going to teach them. That's why you got to give me that in Maccabees, man. We pull it all the time, but we got to keep pulling it, man. 2 Maccabees chapter 7, and I want you to read verse. Is it 7 and 7? Is that what I want, or is it 1 Maccabees 7? Which one is it, y'all? 2 Maccabees 7, verse 7, and get straight to the point on it.
2 Maccabees chapter 7 and verse 7.
I mean, is it 7? It might not be 2 Maccabees 7, but it's somewhere in there. Get straight to the point of it, man. Verse 27. 27. Go ahead.
Verse 27. But she, bowing herself toward him, laughing the cruel tyrant to scorn, spake in her country language on this manner: O my son, have pity upon me that bare thee 9 months in my womb, and gave thee suck 3 years, and nourished thee, and brought thee up unto this age, and endured the troubles of education.
Now, sisters, that's your job. That's what it is. You're the first nurturer of the kids, right? You're the first nurturer. that means that, sisters, you've got to learn some history of your people.
Right,
You got to be
right,
reading
right.
those books that Bishop Nathaniel be bringing out on class. Y'all got to screenshot that stuff, go back and read that, and then pour that stuff into your kids and quiz them about it. Don't just let it go by on Sabbath class and then that's it, and then, oh, that's a good class or whatever. Go ahead,
Hey,
officer.
Cap, I got something to add to
Yeah,
that
go
because
ahead.
a lot of times people would think, okay, well, slavery is not needed to be taught to our children. I will gainsay that. Go to 1 Maccabees 2, read verse 51.
Go ahead.
This is the education that the sisters are supposed to be pouring into the children.
1 Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 51. Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time.
See that? God says call to remembrance the acts of our fathers. Our fathers are found all throughout this Bible. Go ahead.
So shall ye receive great honor and an everlasting name.
That's where we get our history, our value, our honor from, the acts of our fathers. When you pour that into our children, then they can understand where they descend from.
You
and pride.
know what? And I'm gonna let y'all know that I'm just speaking for myself. When I began to learn who we was as a people, not even just Israelite history, but just history period about us, some of the great things that we have done, the inventions and all of that stuff, that begins to instill a sense of pride in your children. It answers not all of them, but a few of the questions about who are we as a people.
Right.
What are the works? What did we do besides being downtrodden and shot in the streets? When you begin to pull in the troubles of education of King David and the rise and fall of Solomon, the prophets, and Jesus the Christ, and we made in the image of God, those things begin to put a level of self-esteem in your kids that the white man can never destroy. They can never destroy that. Why? Because they know who they are, that we are the sons and daughters of God, and we know that they are the children of Satan, and it ain't nothing that they can say to us to bring our self-esteem down. But you gotta go through the troubles of education with the kids that don't sit still. They don't like to sit still, you know, all that. You gotta go through that, pour it in them, so when they become of age, they're gonna remember what father and mother taught me, and they're gonna stand up and be your avengers, the revolutionaries. Go ahead,
And you know
officer.
why history is just so important, why it has to be taught and passed down from generation to generation? It's mainly because we are not going to be making the same mistakes that our forefathers has made.
Good point.
Because now, if we didn't have history, something to learn from, because the white man believes in history, he'll go into a book that he doesn't even believe in, and then look up history so that way he can make his empire a lot better.
Point.
But if you remember also, back in the day, all the revolutionary that we had, they all started around 21, 22, 23.
Yeah. Was that Fred Hampton?
Yeah,
Fred Hampton.
that's their age. It's because of what they learned. Like they themselves, they experienced slavery like the forefathers did, but they learned about it. They
But they
saw
felt
it
it.
with their eyes. It's like,
Saw
okay,
the
this
oppression.
is how they're behaving towards us.
Yeah.
Now that when they shut that down,
Yeah, and another point I want to make out about this, because it happens too far, and I've heard it out of my own family. I got a little nephew, and he's about 7 or 8 years old, and I got family members saying, no, don't teach him that. Don't teach him that stuff. He's too young for that. No, he's not.
Right.
He needs to know the white man is the devil right now.
Right.
He needs to know that. Those things need to be imprinted in his mind. So by the time that he gets 23, or like the age Fred Hampton, Martin Luther King was young when he started out. Malcolm X was young. Many of our revolutionaries was young men when they stood up for their people. You got the snake, you got the brown berets, you got all of that stuff. They was young when they stood up for their stuff. But what you were saying, that stuff was instilled in them when they was young. You can't shelter these kids about the world that is going on around them.
Right.
You got to tell them how it is, prepare them for it, teach them who they are in the Bible, and then send them out into the world. You got to teach them how to control their thoughts, because they'll go to school and say, hey, you the damn devil.
yep.
Right.
You saw that, but that goes in with the troubles of education of how you mold them as a child. And by the time they Fred Hampton's age, by the time they Jesus Christ's age,
Jesus Christ,
12 years old,
12
they've
years
been going
old.
back and forth with it. But you got to do that now. Give me that in Sirach chapter 30, and I want you to read verse 3, because it don't fall on the mother, about the troubles of education. No, it don't start with her teaching the kids. She just got to go through the troubles of the education because she going to spend the most time with them while the man is out at work and doing things, hitting the streets, raising up the nation. But the man has a responsibility too. Sirach 30, and I want you to read verse 3.
Sirach chapter 30 and verse 3. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy.
Now, check this out. Teach his son what, though? That's what you just pulled in First Maccabees, wasn't it?
Right.
About remember your forefather. Teach him about his forefathers. When you teach them about Job, you teach them about Ezekiel, you teach them about the mighty man of David, the man of valor. You teach them about Jesus Christ, how he stood up to the wickedness of these nations and the evil leaders. You teach them about Maccabees, Judas Maccabees and them. You grieve the enemy because now they're not just another statistic.
Right.
They not going to grow up and do drill music.
Right.
They're not going to grow up. Your daughters ain't going to grow up and start twerking and shit. Oh, I want to be like Cardi B. No, that's not going to be their thought.
So, Cap, they're not going to be twerking in Ghana.
On top of the slave damn castle. Oh, man.
I could get one script, Cap.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, watch this. Because the trouble of education, right? Go to Exodus chapter 2. Watch this. Read verse 8. Because that's the key part right there. Troubles of education from both parents. Read that.
Exodus chapter 2 and verse 8. And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Go. And the maid went and called the child's mother.
So the history is Moses' mother raised them by taking care of him, right? Now go down to verse 11.
Verse 11. And it came to pass in those days, when Moses was grown, that he went out unto his brethren and looked on their burdens, and he spied an Egyptian smiting an Hebrew, one of his brethren.
You saw that? So when you read the rest of the history, Moses didn't just say, you know what, I'm not a Hebrew. No, because he was taught by his family, listen, these are the enemy. When he grew up,
and that was even with him living amongst the enemy.
Exactly.
Before his parents gave him up, even though he was a baby or little, he still had some interaction with it because he knew who they was, right?
Yeah.
He had some interaction. He knew who his people was, and he never let go of that. Even being in Pharaoh's house living good, he did not turn his back on the oppression that he saw his people going through.
Right.
He did not do that. Go back to Sirach chapter 30. I want to finish it out real quick. 3 down to 6.
Sirach chapter 30 and verse 3. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him.
That you got a son with some damn wisdom. They got a mind. He ain't one of these knuckles out here. Go ahead.
Though his father died, yet he is as though he were not dead. For he hath left one behind him that is like himself.
Now that's a key point right there. If once you pass on, you not grieved because you leave one behind you like yourself. So if you are going to pass on and you grieved, and you know that your son is not going to stand up in your place, that means that you wasn't a revolutionary.
Damn.
This dude ain't going to be shit. He ain't going to be ish when I'm gone. He's a damn man. Shit.
That's a cold
I think
precept.
I messed up.
You got your past failure.
It repenteth me.
Go ahead, officer. What you going to say?
I said that precept right there is a cold one because it says it grieved the enemy. It grieved him so much, he says, now I got to regulate the history that y'all teach.
Damn, good point.
That's
good
cold-blooded.
point, man. Jump down to verse 6 now.
Verse 6. He left behind him an avenger against his enemies.
Avenger, bring that up to today. An avenger is a revolutionary. Only way that's going to happen with the things that they are doing to us right now is if you go through the troubles of education. As a woman, you learn this stuff and you pour it into your sons and daughters, and then the father, you learn it as well, and you set the order in the house for what you want to be taught while you ain't there. And when you get home, you're going to ask him, what'd you learn today about being an avenger, son? I learned Judas Maccabee stood up against them Greek devils, and I'm going to do the same thing, Daddy.
That's
you
right.
Let's go over this basic precept. That's what you do. That's how you raise them up to be an avenger, all right? Hey, go to the next article real quick, because them relegating what they want us to learn, it's not by happenstance. Pull it up. Read that for them.
From the African Exponent, here is how black inventors were denied patent rights in the United States.
Now, this is the thing. How can they come to their own conclusion and have a better education and it actually benefit them when the history of white folks, when they didn't let us read and they kept us back from education, but some of us that were smart enough to overcome that, they still stole our patent. So how are you going to give them better education now when you have a history of stealing from us all of our wealth and our talent? Go back to it. Let's go back to that article. Let's scroll down on it. Let's read it.
The United States of America has birthed a wide array of life-changing innovations throughout history. Inventions that came out of the United States quickly revolutionized people's perception of life by making it efficient and fast. This necessitated the development of patent law so that the inventors could enjoy the exclusive rights to their inventions, the commercial reward for the time they did to bringing forth the product to life.
Now, read that second paragraph. Here's the point. Read that.
The narrative of American innovation has always excluded black people from the picture.
Excluded black people, and that's the same thing they're doing today. What great minds are you holding back when you hold back the history of us? You're not going to have no, even though they didn't know the history that we know, but you're going to hold back the minds of like Ben Yakinan, right? His thing, I think his name is Ivan Sertima. He was a historian too. You got Frances Cress Welding. You got that new lady. She's Bishop talked about it this past week. Dr. Joy DeGruy, right? They're gonna hold back great intellectual historical minds by not teaching them the true history of us in the education system. Go back to it. Let's finish it out.
And this was worsened by the patent laws, which were designed to exclude black people who were born into slavery. Even for those who had bought their freedom, freed men. It was not easy to acquire a patent.
So whether a slave or free, they was holding us back from the jump. Go ahead.
But that did not mean that there was a dearth of creativity and innovation among black people in the United States.
That's because we are the chosen people of God, and no matter what condition you put us in, that godly spirit in us is going to shine through. That wisdom in us is going to shine through, whether we on the bottom or we on top. But that is why they are taking away those things in the school, so that godly spirit within us, that wisdom, it stays suppressed. Because if we was on the same playing field,
right,
it's over for them, and they know that. That's why they took away the affirmative action.
Probably like 10 to 20 years ago, you would have seen cars flying in the sky.
Oh yeah.
If we had the same education.
Oh yeah. Our Jordans would have been flying by now. We'd have put damn rockets on the Jordans. You know how Negroes are, man.
Well, you saying that?
Yeah.
What that reminds me of is this scripture in Exodus. Come, let us deal wisely with them.
There you go.
Yeah.
All this is them having a think tank, executing it piece by piece by piece.
And so that lets you know that we are like the Bible says, we are in spiritual Egypt.
Yeah.
Just like Revelation says. The Bible is a true book once again.
What is a nation? Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you.
And finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord.